Hello and welcome to another episode of the GB podcast on GB Gaming, where video games come first. This is Dave talking here, and just before I get started on this episode, I just want to let you know that if you're listening to this on SoundCloud, I have a YouTube channel that is dedicated to game reviews, let's plays, rants, opinions, all sorts of things related to the gaming community and the gaming industry. You can follow me on YouTube, which is youtube.com/gamerboy. That's GAMERBHOY. The link will be here on my SoundCloud profile. So if you're looking for anything more than just the podcast, all of that stuff is there, including this episode of the podcast. So this will not only be going on to SoundCloud, it will be going on to YouTube as well. So a few things I'm going to be talking about today. It's Monday, the 6th of July. I took a bit of a week to do an extra episode of this podcast because, well, first of all, I couldn't do a podcast last week because I started back work. So I've got my job back again after being off for about 3.5 months. So I'm just going to have to reschedule my plans and things that I would do outside of work, including my channel. So there's just going to be a little bit of changes. Not changes to the channel, just changes to when I post things, and I've got some things on the back burner already that I'm working on, so they'll be released over the course of the year, hopefully. I'm going to talk about a number of things on this episode. I'm going to talk about the next generation of consoles, particularly the price of games. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us and the backlash surrounding certain things regarding it. I'm going to talk about other things as well, like what influenced me to do game reviews, what influenced me to make a YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about games that I've been playing during the week or over the past week, and I'm going to just shoot the shit, really. This is very unscripted. It's off the top of my head. I'm only going by the news stories that I'm seeing in front of me. So I'm just hoping that it'll work out okay. But anyway, let's get started. So I just want to dive into it straight away. I want to dive into The Last of Us, particularly The Last of Us Part 2 and the backlash surrounding it. Well, first of all, I'm going to give my impressions of the game itself. This isn't a review as such, because I don't do reviews of new games immediately because I always feel like I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I like to give myself a long time before I decide to review a game. I couldn't care less about keeping up the conversation or anything like that. I do these reviews in my own time, and it could be any game, literally any game from any generation. As long as I've played it, I'll review it. I don't give scores at the end of my games either. These are just games that I'll either recommend or I won't recommend, or if I think they're good or if I think they're not great. But I digress. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us 2 for a start. I liked The Last of Us 2, really liked it. I think it's my game of the year so far. It's just, gameplay wise, it's just more Last of Us. If you've played the original Last of Us and you haven't played The Last of Us 2 yet, but you're eager to, the gameplay is not much different from the previous one. I mean, there's a few tweaks, few quality of life changes, a few things they've added, such as the ability to go prone and hide in tall grass and all that kind of thing. That isn't really a major innovation. So in regards to gameplay, it's nothing huge, but that's a good thing in a way because The Last of Us 1 played so well. It was one of the best feeling games that I've ever played, if that makes any sense. Like, it reminds me very much of the same kind of gunplay that you have in Uncharted. So those two share very similar shooting mechanics. Obviously, one's a horror game, so you've got to be a little bit more careful when you're shooting things and whatnot. But I digress on that as well. Overall, I think The Last of Us 2 was a very good game, and I even liked the story. Contrary to what seems to be popular belief, I actually really enjoyed the story of The Last of Us Part 2. I liked how the story was structured in a way. Well, there are a few things I wish it could be changed around in regards to when we see certain scenes and when we play certain characters. It's not a major gripe. I'm those type of gamers that I accept what's in front of me. If I don't like it, then I'll accept that I don't like it, but I won't take away from the game itself. If a game is not interesting to me or if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to outright say that the game is terrible. I'm not going to make it sound objective either. But I actually like The Last of Us 2, and I honestly believe that the hate generated towards the game is over exaggerated. It's an overreaction. It's blown out of proportion, and I think it's unwarranted. And it also it clouds people's real feelings of the game. It clouds people's real opinions of the game. There are plenty of people out there that just don't think it's as good as the first one, and that is okay. That is perfectly fine. I haven't really found my standing on that yet. I don't know what's better than the other. I would need to play the second one again because I'm still kind of high on the game right now. I'm still buzzing about it, so I can't really give a clear-cut opinion on what's better than the other because both of them are so good in so many different ways. Because the first one aims towards, I don't want to say it's a happy story. It's more like a feel good. It's like a game that ends in, well, almost, yeah, actually it does. It ends in an optimistic level. It ends optimistically in a way. And the second one is just not that. It ends so bad. And without spoiling anything, I will say that the ending of the game, let's just say it's not a happy ending. And if you've seen the leaks, you'll know what I'm talking about in a way. In other ways, you haven't actually seen everything yet if you have seen the leaks. But what I will say is the game is very dark. It's very pessimistic. It's just full of hopelessness. The tone of the game is just pure and utter depression. Do not go into this game thinking you're going to have a happy time. Well, I suppose from a gameplay aspect, when it comes to actual gameplay, I'm sure you're having fun. But from a story perspective, it's not roses and petals. It's not rainbows and sunshine. It's very much a depressing slog of a game. It's really, really very much a downer. I think the actors and actresses did a very good job in this game. I think the voice actors were absolutely stupendous, like fantastic. Troy Baker does it again. He is the. I'm trying to list an A-list actor that is so relevant these days. I would say maybe he's the who could I compare Troy Baker to? I honestly don't know who to compare him to, but he's like an A-list Hollywood celebrity in the world of video games. He doesn't do anything outside of video games that I know of. He is very much well respected, well known, and well established in the video game industry as one of the best voice actors, alongside Nolan North, alongside Phil Lamar, alongside David Hayter. You know, all those people. And Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson, also fantastic voice actors, did a fantastic job in this. And did you know? I did not know this. Ashley Johnson, first of all, I had no idea she was in her late 30s. That surprised me. She looks like she's in her early 20s. At the very oldest, she looks like she's in her early 20s. So it became a major surprise to me when I found out that Ashley Johnson is the voice of Gretchen Grundler from Disney's Recess. When I found that out, I thought that was absolutely amazing. I love it when I find things like that out. I think it's just, I don't know, it's weird because you're so used to associating a voice actor or an actor with certain characters from things that you watched as a child, and then you might not hear from them for a long time, or you might only start to learn who actors' names are So this was one of those situations where she's been in the industry for a long time and I had no idea because she doesn't look as old as she actually is. So it really surprised me that she plays a character on a TV show that I watched a lot as a child, which is just amazing. And Laura Bailey, for those of you who don't know, Laura Bailey, and this, I guess I'm going to put a spoiler in front of this because those of you who have not played The Last of Us might not know the full. I suppose, yeah, I'm diving into heavy spoiler territory anyway. So starting from 3, 2, 1, spoilers now. Laura Bailey plays Abby, and Abby is one of the main characters in The Last of Us Part 2, introduced in The Last of Us Part 2. She is the daughter of the surgeon that is murdered by Joel when he is on his way to rescue Ellie from the Fireflies, or as he seems to think he's rescuing her. She's the daughter of that surgeon, and basically, fast forward to the events of The Last of Us Part 2, she finds Joel by chance and uses that opportunity to get her revenge by killing him in cold blood for killing her father. And that's basically how The Last of Us Part 2 begins, in a way. The game does this very interesting thing that is not really unseen, but it isn't very common, where the game will do a bait and switch, where even though you do play as Abby for the first few sections of there at the beginning of the game, it doesn't really give you the impression that you're going to be playing as Abby going forward. You know, it's a prologue, essentially. And what the game does is it gives you a bait and switch. So you play as Ellie throughout the first 15 hours of the game, and then, after a certain set piece, you then play as Abby, who, in the eyes of the player, is the game's villain. But in the eyes of Abby, she's her own protagonist because she feels what she did is right. Now, I'm jumping the gun here in the defence of Abby and in the defence of Laura Abby. But my point I'm trying to make is Abby is a fictional character in a video game. And the backlash surrounding Last of Us 2 not only goes towards the leaks that happened way back a few months ago in spring, but also in regards to the game's story, in regards to the voice actress, specifically Laura Bailey. She has been getting death threats and a lot of harassment since The Last of Us 2 released. Now, this is wrong on so many levels. I could pull out a massive scroll detailing why this is wrong, but it also should go without saying why it's wrong. It's wrong because it's obvious. You're playing a fictional character. You cannot attack an actor or an actress for portraying a villain who kills a character that you like. That's not the actress's fault. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Laura Bailey received a lot of hate just because she played a character that nobody wanted to play as. And that's another backlash piece that the game got. It was the fact that you play as the quote-unquote villain of the game. Someone that none of us knew of, none of us got to know, and none of us grew to like. So basically what people were saying was that the director / developer had no right putting us in the shoes of someone we didn't know anything about. Now, that's stupid because it's a video game, and the way I see it as, you don't own the characters of these games. You don't own the stories of these games. You know, if you think the story can go a certain way, then you should hand in your CV and write your own. Make a fan fiction. But I see it as the developers feel like telling a story, and he should have the right to tell the story in a way that he sees fit. Just because it's something you fail to comprehend or see from the point of view of the developer does not mean that it warrants hate, vitriol, and overall just savage behaviour from you. Like, that's absolutely childish. You know, this goes way back to Game of Thrones season 8. Now, granted, there are criticisms in regarding Game of Thrones season 8 in regards to the pacing of the story in particular. That's all fine. But to call it and it may well be the worst season of Game of Thrones. I can't really tell because I enjoyed all seasons equally. I love Game of Thrones, like, without any grudge. Like, do you know what I mean? The word I'm looking for is unconditionally. I unconditionally love Game of Thrones. And I unconditionally love a lot of games. I unconditionally love The Last of Us. And I unconditionally love The Last of Us 2. Because I play the game for me. I play the game to see how I feel about it. I don't care what other people think about it. And I don't care what the developer says I should think about it. Well, I do in a way. What I'm basically trying to say is I am open-minded. I will play a game in a way that the developer and the director wants me to play it, like, in the way that wants me to experience it, because it's their story, and I want to experience it the way they want us to experience it. So I am open to the idea of playing as someone like Abby, because the director wants us to play it from her perspective. I don't care that she's killed the main character from one of the main characters from the first game and that we're supposed to automatically hate her. I will say that when I first started playing as Abby, I didn't want to. It was about an hour and a half, 2 hours into her playthrough where I says, you know what, I'm going to stop for a day and come back to it because it's a little bit too jarring. But that's not something I hold against the game. That's something that I think Neil Druckmann wanted us to feel. He wanted us to feel hate for this character. I mean, for God's sake, it's normal for us to hate a character that is portrayed in such a way like is villainous or bad. Yet we're supposed to hate them. But there's nothing wrong with putting us into the shoes of these characters. This isn't the first time that a game has put us into the shoes of the quote-unquote villain. It isn't the first time that they've done it. Well, I suppose it could be the first time that they've done it this way. But, I mean, I've played Gears of War. We got to play as Ram in one of the sections of one of those games. He was the main antagonist in Gears of War 1. Nobody's complaining about that. And even Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, granted, you don't play as a villain, necessarily, but the bait and switch is quite similar, where the trailers were making you think that you would play as Solid Snake. This is spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 2, by the way, but in this point, there's really no... Yeah, whatever. It's been 21 years or 19 years, I'm pretty sure you're aware of Metal Gear Solid 2's story, and if you're not, then consider this your spoiler warning for this. But Metal Gear Solid 2, the trailers for that game made you think that you were going to play as Snake throughout the whole game. They even put in Snake into certain scenes that he was actually not in. And the game makes you play a whole... Well, it depends on how fast you play the first chapter of that game, but a whole 3 to 5 to 6 hours, depends on how long you take. A whole chapter of a game as Snake, and then the next chapter begins, which is set 2 years later, and you're also being referred to as Snake until you take off the mask, and what you're actually playing as is a character that nobody liked at the start. Nobody liked him. Raiden. Nobody liked Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2. Nobody wanted to play as Raiden. You know? But the game was still successful and people still enjoyed it regardless. Nobody... Well, not that I know of. I don't think anyone boycotted Metal Gear Solid 2. They gave out about it. They got annoyed about it. But I don't think... What I'm trying to say is I think if Metal Gear Solid 2 was released in 2020, I think it would receive the same level of backlash that The Last of Us 2 got, because nobody wants to play as someone who is brand new. Everyone wanted The Last of Us 2 to be another Joel and Ellie story, to fight more infected. They didn't get that. They got Abby instead, and everyone is mad as shit. But it doesn't warrant the actors and the actresses to get vitriol and hate and death threats. And death threats towards their family members and their children is wrong as well. You don't do that. If you're one of those people, you need help. There's no reason to behave like that. Now, I did hear that one of the people who threw abuse at Laura Bailey was unnamed in her reference. So she sent screenshots of all the abuse that she got, but she hid all the names. Now, even though it wouldn't have been difficult for someone to find the person or people who made those comments, but in any case, one of the people who made the comments to Laura Bailey openly apologised in response to that tweet that she made, and said that what was it they said? Something along the lines of they couldn't control their emotions, or they couldn't control how they felt. They were like blind with rage, or something along those lines. Basically, it got to a point where they said they were not justifying it, but they were explaining in such a way during their apology that made it sound like if you've gotten so annoyed at a video game that you can't control what your emotions are, that you can't control your anger, that you can't separate reality from what isn't real, then you need to put the controller down, step back, and go outside and talk to someone. Talk to someone who's close to you at the very least. Explain how you're feeling, because that is not normal. No like-minded person behaves like that. Like, that's a really bad way to behave, and it's disgusting as well. So if you're one of those people that are like that, and you can't control it, get help. Now, I will say, or I will, praise the person who apologised. A lot of people are acting really unforgiving about it. Like an apology's not enough. I honestly don't know what you want that person to do. If someone apologises heartfully, with all their heart apologises, in my books, more often than not, I will believe them. You can call me naive for saying that, but I believe in everyone's entitled to make one mistake or two mistakes at the most. Everyone's entitled to make mistakes. You've all made mistakes. The people that are being unforgiving to the person that made the mistake has made mistakes as well. So I don't know if this is just a keyboard gangster thing where people just say what they think people say what they want to say because they know that there's no blowback. Nobody can come back and chase after them after saying it. So I believe it's wrong to be unforgiving to the person that's just apologised, because my perception of this is, what do you want them to do if you don't want them to apologise? Should they be hated forever? Should they be forever labelled? Should they just never be happy for the rest of their life? Should they forever have a shit life just because they made one mistake? A silly mistake that is easily rectifiable. And for all intents and purposes, Laura Bailey accepted his apology anyway, and yet people are still acting like they're unforgiven. Basically, what I'm saying is, he or she didn't apologise to you. He or she apologised to Laura Bailey. They don't need your forgiveness. But at the same time, don't be a dick. Do you know? This is what it sounds like, okay? So I'm Laura Bailey. Oh, no, I'm not Laura. Right, so Laura Bailey posts, or someone says something to Laura Bailey. Laura Bailey's angry. Laura Bailey shares it online. Person comes over and says, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what I was thinking. I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have said it. Okay, I'm Laura Bailey and I accept your apology. Oh, no, wait, Laura Bailey. Let me just step in front of you there. I don't accept your apology. You are not Laura Bailey's fucking agent. Do you know what I mean? You're not you're not her spokesperson. You don't speak for her. So what the fuck are you gaining from saying that you don't forgive the person? Do you know what I mean? It's wrong. Just accept their apology. They've accepted their wrong. Move on. Your problem is that you didn't want an apology. You wanted an argument. That's what I believe. You wanted an argument. So, yeah. Too long didn't read, or too long didn't listen. Laura Bailey got attacked for playing as a character that everyone hates, apparently. And she has called them out. One person has apologised. She has forgiven them. But it doesn't outdo, or it doesn't eliminate the fact that you shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Yeah, you've apologised, and yes, your apology has been accepted. Hopefully you don't do it again, but you shouldn't have done it in the first place. Hopefully this is a learning experience, because you shouldn't be attacking actors and actresses for playing as characters you hate or villains. This isn't the first time an actress or actor has been attacked personally for playing a character that they didn't like on TV. Jack Gleeson, who played King Joffrey in Game of Thrones. King Joffrey was a villainous, sadistic, albeit one note, villain in that show. He was hated by everyone, and spoilers, his death at the beginning of season 4 was celebrated by everyone who was watching. Absolutely celebrated. What a momentous occasion to see that. It was justice at its purest. Everyone was so happy. But between all that, leading up to that, there was reports that Jack Gleeson was getting attacked personally by fans of the show. And Laura Headey, I don't know how you pronounce her name, who played Cersei Lannister, equally sadistic, but a little bit clever with it. She got attacks as well. The lady who played Skylar from Breaking Bad, an absolute bitch of a woman in that show, also got personal attacks. Jeez, this goes all the way back to the early 2000s, where there is a soap opera show over here called EastEnders. It's set in the East End of London. It's very popular all over Britain, very popular all over Ireland. It's pretty depressing. It's a pretty depressing TV show. I've seen it a few times. I watched it for the first time in the early 2000s when there was a villainous character in it called Trevor. He was a sadistic individual. He verbally, sexually, and physically abused his girlfriend. He was a misogynist. He was abusive. He was a domestic abuser. He was a rapist. He was all sorts of sick things. His death was celebrated when his house, or the house that he was in, blew up, exploded. He died in it. Everyone celebrated. His actor was personally attacked as well. One of his agents, I think, said that he wasn't to go out the front door of a certain building because there was a fan outside that wanted to punch the living shit out of him, which is ridiculous. But it goes to show that even though these fans shouldn't be behaving like this, it does prove one thing: that the actors or actresses are doing a fantastic job with the characters they are portraying. But there should be this suspension of disbelief. You need to... It's common sense, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's wrong, don't do it. But The Last of Us 2, brilliant game. My personal game of the year of 2020 so far. So the next thing I want to talk about is what I've been playing during the week. Well, last week I had just finished The Last of Us Part 2. It took me a week to beat it. So I got that finished about last week or just before last week. And ever since then, I've just been kind of jumping off various games. I haven't stuck to one. This is what I normally do when I beat a game, especially a long one. I don't really know what to do with myself. So I will just jump off random games and I never really stick to them. So what I've really been playing, I won't mention everything, but I've dabbled in Football Manager 2020. I played like 2 matches on that. I've been playing a little bit of Alien Isolation. I've been playing a little bit of Middle Earth Shadow of War. And I've been playing a little bit of NBA Street Volume 2. And that's it. I haven't really found anything to stick to. However, there is a game coming out tomorrow as I make this episode that I'm quite excited to play. And that's Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. I played the original on Switch. I thought it was amazing. The original is like a spiritual successor to all the old Castlevania games, particularly the NES ones, and more particularly Castlevania 3. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon takes a lot of influence and inspirations from Castlevania 3. And speaking of influences, I've always wanted to share what influenced me to make YouTube videos, particularly my game reviews. It goes back to 2006. Well, really, it goes back to 2005 in a way. In 2005, I made a video of me playing Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, back in 2004 or 2005, Metal Gear Solid 3 was released, and they created an expansion for it called Subsistence. And what it was it included 3 discs, at least the ones we had over here. So it included the base game, it included a video viewer, which allowed you to watch all cutscenes that were all supercut into one 3-hour-long movie. And the third disc contained something called Metal Gear Online. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It was the first time that Metal Gear Solid 3, or any Metal Gear Solid game, could be played online. And I decided to record myself playing a match of that. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So amateur. The camera I used was an iToy camera that was able to be plugged into the computer and used as a webcam. So I used that to aim at the TV, the CRT widescreen that I had at the time. It was horrible. The quality was garbage. The frame rate was atrocious. But it was the first time I did a video and posted it on the internet. It was not posted on YouTube. I don't know if I was familiar with YouTube at the time, but it was posted to blip.tv, which is no longer available anymore, I don't think. I don't think that video exists anymore. I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe I've saved it on my computer, I don't know. But that was even though that was the first time that I made a video and posted it online, it wasn't my influence to create YouTube videos or game reviews. The first time I wanted to play or review video games came from watching a YouTuber by the name of Jedite1. Now, his channel doesn't exist anymore, but another channel has re-uploaded most of his content. So if you want to go look at it, I think the name of the channel now is WWF Intercontinental Champ or something along those lines. Or you could easily just search Jedite1. His videos were guerrilla as fuck. Like, they were so badly put together. And all it was this guy just standing in front of his camera, no editing, no filters, nothing like that. No quick cuts, jump cuts, just him talking about video game stuff. And my influence came from watching him just talking to the camera about video games that he liked, particularly older retro games like the Sega Mega Drive or Super Nintendo. So when I watched his review of Street Fighter the movie, him talking over the games that he spoke about before he mentioned the movie, was what gave me the idea that I wanted to do something like that as well. If anyone who knows me personally already knows that I love cameras. I love commentating on video games in general. Even though the Metal Gear Solid video was the first video that I made and posted on YouTube, or sorry, on blip.tv or online in general, and me watching Jedi was my introduction to making YouTube videos. The first time I recall commentating on video games was, I think my dad was making some home movie shit, and he came into the room and he recorded that. I do not know where this tape is. I don't even know if it still exists. It's probably gone. But he came into the room and he was aiming his camera towards me playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive. And I remember when I turned round and I noticed he was using the camera, I didn't want him to record me. I wanted him to record the Sega. And I remember getting up off of the bed and going over to him and said, can I look through the camera and look at my Sega through it? So I wanted to show my game and my games console through the camera. For some reason, I wanted to do that. And then I would have came back and done it again in my mid to early teens. Now, I'm convinced I had some sort of ADHD when I was like 13, 14. I was so hyper. I don't know what sugar I was on. I don't know what fucking chocolate I was eating. But whatever the case was, I was a hyperactive child, especially in my early teens. This was before I ended up being a grumpy little shit post the age of 15. Or 13 or 14. But I used to go to my auntie's every single weekend. And she had this video camera. It was an old one. And she gave me a shot of it. And what I used to do was I used to set up the tripod. And I used to post the camera on top of the tripod. And I remember I would play Grand Theft Auto 3. And I would play it. But I would pretend to be a news reporter. So I would be committing all these horrible crimes on GTA 3 while pretending to be a news reporter commenting on all this horrible stuff. And I don't know what I was thinking, but that was me. That was probably my biggest memory of when I wanted to record video games using a camera. So I say that was probably the first time that made me think, this is something I would really like to do when I get older. So the video of me playing and recording Metal Gear Solid 3 was the first time I uploaded it to blip.tv, using that influence from Jedi then to create the YouTube videos. And that influenced me to create my first ever game review, which was arguably my favourite video game of all time, which is Flashback on the Sega Mega Drive particularly. Even though that is my favourite game, I've only beaten it twice, I think. Twice or 3 times. I've only beaten it 3 times. Once on the Mega Drive, once on the Switch, and once on the PS4. But I've played through the first, second, and third levels so many times. I know them inside out. But yeah, so naturally I decided to review retro games, just like Jedi. And I also had a very amateur style of recording. I used, because basically my reason for, my excuse was, well, if he can do it as guerrilla as that, then so can anyone. So that was my excuse for not putting much effort into the reviews. And I did that for a good few months. I posted about 9 episodes, 10 episodes maybe. I posted 10 episodes with 2 of them being removed for copyright infringement. So I think the 2 episodes that got removed was Road Rash 3D, because I used a hell of a lot of licensed music, particularly at the beginning of the video, where I used a song by Breaking Benjamin for the intro. So because of that, the video got taken down and muted. That was when, if YouTube saw you posting something with copyrighted music, they would mute the entire video and they would disable it. They were very, very aggressive back then. Now, they're pretty aggressive now, but it's gotten to a stage now where if you post something with copyright infringement on it, I don't know if your video will get muted. I don't even know if your video will get taken down, but you will certainly not get monetized for it, and you'll probably not fit into YouTube's algorithm to get noticed more. That then falls on you to do that yourself. That's what I think anyway. I'm probably wrong. And the other game that got taken down was my review of Warzone for the PS1. Again, because I used a lot of licensed music belonging to the WWF at the time. So, yeah. So I managed to get 8 episodes out called Classics Review. And all I reviewed was Mega Drive games at the time. And then I took a break for a while. I came back and made more episodes. And basically fast forward to years later, and I'm still doing it. From 2007 to now, even though I've transformed my channel to a different branding, calling it something different, calling my reviews something different, slightly changing up the way I do my reviews, at the very core aspect of it, I still like to review old games. Everything else is gravy. So at the very core, I'm still doing the same thing I was doing 13 years ago. So that was my influence for doing game reviews, and I'm still sticking to it, still trying to at least. Very much enjoy doing it. And the best part about it is that I get to do it in my own free time. I don't have a schedule to keep. I don't have an audience to please. I don't, like, I'm not the kind of person that wants to make a career out of it, because I think that would only add more stress. I'm just an everyday guy that does everyday normal things with a hobby that happens to be video games. And with that hobby comes things that I like to do alongside it, like making the videos. I like editing videos, I like creating videos. I've done other things as well. I've created music, which I haven't done in a long time. I was going to go back and do it again about a year ago, but I don't know why I stopped. I just didn't bother. I haven't made a song in about 7 years, so I haven't went back to it. Yeah, so I like to thank Jedi1. I think his real name is Anthony. I think he mentioned that in one of his reviews or one of his videos. So I like to thank Jedi1 for basically encouraging me indirectly and inadvertently encouraging me to do my channel. I don't think if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have done it when I done it. And I think if I didn't do it back then and it ended up being 2020 now, I probably would never do it, because the way it's done now is so complicated. Like the way YouTube compiles the content that they want people to see, the restrictions. The only reason I'm still doing it is because I've always done it in a way. So I kind of just stick to it because I know it. I know how to do it. And it's fun. It's really enjoyable. Yeah. So that's that story out the way. Now, I want to jump to the July releases for this year. There's a few games here that I'm really interested in. Some I really haven't heard of, and some I'm heard of, but not really interested in getting yet. But going from chronological order, I will start by saying with Catherine Full Body. That's coming out on the Switch for July 7th, which means it's out tomorrow. And okay, hold on a second. The game Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is not coming out tomorrow. I forgot what date it was. It's coming out later on this week. I digress. Catherine Full Body coming out on Switch. Another remaster of the original game and a re-release of the remaster that was already out on PS4 and Xbox. Never played it. I don't think I've played it. I can't remember. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Persona. I'm pretty sure the two games are linked in some way, or the two IPs are linked. I'm not sure. They look very similar anyway. Another game coming out is, no, I can't pronounce this, Superliminal or Superliminal. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's also coming out to PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 7th. Crosscode coming out for PS4 and Switch on July 9th. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 coming out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 10th. Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise coming out on Switch on July 10th. Also coming out on July 10th is Formula 1 2020 on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town is coming out on Switch in Europe on July 10th. Sword Art Online, Alicization, Lycoris, can't pronounce it. Also coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on July 10th. And then we've got Death Stranding coming out on PC on July 14th. Very tempted to maybe buy that, but I'm not sure if my PC would run it well. But we'll see. Neon Abyss coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 14th. Rocket Arena coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, also on July 14th. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town coming out on Switch in the US on July 14th. Ooblets coming out on PC and Xbox One, July 15th. Bounty Battle coming out on July 16th on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Neversong coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, July 16th. Radical Rabbit Stew coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 16th. Drake Hollow coming out on PC and Xbox One, July 17th. And the big one, these two games are coming out on the same day, and I'm probably going to lean towards the former here. But Ghost of Tsushima is coming out on PS4 on July 17th. And then Paper Mario, the Origami King, is coming out on Switch on July 17th. Now, I already knew I was going to get Ghost of Tsushima eventually, but the closer it's gotten to release, the more I've wanted to get it. So I'm probably going to get it on release. I'm also quite interested in getting Paper Mario as well, but I don't know when I'll buy that. I've got so many games in my backlog, and I'm abandoning so many games halfway as well. I'm really bad. Anyway, so they're coming out on the 17th at the same time. Into the Radius coming out on PC on July 20th. Rock of Ages 3, Make and Break, is coming out on everything on July 21st. Dying Light, Hellraid DLC is coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. That's interesting. I didn't think they were still releasing DLC for that. That game was out 4 years ago? 5 years ago? Wow, that's incredible. Roki, coming out on PC on July 23rd. Ageless, coming out on PC and Switch on July 28th, which is my birthday. Destroy All Humans Remake, also coming out on my birthday on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Yeah, I'll probably get that as well. I made an attempt to play the PS2 version via the PS4 a few years ago. Funnily enough, I think I did that also in July. And I didn't finish it, so this might be a good idea to jump back in. Grounded, coming out on July 28th on PC and Xbox One. Made of Scare, coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on July 28th. Skater XL, also coming out on my birthday on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Wow, yeah, I'm not a massive skate fan. But I have played it and I have enjoyed it, and I appreciate it. And I know everyone's been clamouring for Skate 4, and I think it's happening now. I think the developers announced that they were making Skate 4. When that'll come out, I don't know. It'll probably come out on Series X and PS5. But Skater XL sounds like a good diversion. So I'll probably see what that's like. I hope it gets good reviews, by the way, because it definitely looks like something that I would jump in and play, because I really do like skateboarding games, but I'm more of a Tony Hawk's guy. Not really a massive skate fan, but I do like it. This game very much seems like a spiritual successor to Skate, or at least it has a lot of mechanics that Skate fans enjoyed. So it's coming out on my birthday alongside Destroy All Humans remake. Maybe I'll get it, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it, regardless. Terrarium, coming out on PC, also on the 28th of July. Wow, the 20th of July is packed. Hellpoint, coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 30th. Neo 2 is getting its DLC. Tengu's Disciple, also coming out on July 30th. Castle Storm 2 is coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on July 31st. And Cat Quest and Cat Quest 2 Possum Pack, coming out on PS4 and Switch on July 21st. Don't know what it is. And then we've got Fairy Tail, which is coming out on PC, PS4, and Switch on July 21st. And that is all of the releases for July 2020. I am probably not going to buy 80% of these games. The games that stand out to me are Bloodstained, Death Stranding to an extent. I don't know if I'll buy it on PC. I might. I've already played it on PS4 and I loved it. I would only get it on PC I would probably only get it on PC for the higher frame rate. That is literally the only reason I'd get it, and to have it on a different platform. Also interested in getting Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario, Destroy All Humans, and Skater XL. Those are the games that stand out to me for this month. I don't know how many of them I will get this month. Probably not all of them. But I am definitely getting Ghost of Tsushima at the very least. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, now let's get to my topic of the day, or the week, should I say. And it is referencing the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Particularly the prices of the games. Now, I am not an advocate for the games needing to stay the same price. But it has now come to the attention of everyone that video games going forward, particularly on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and beyond, games are going to cost €10 more than what they cost on PS4, Xbox One, and before. They are now going to cost up to €70. Now, I am of two minds of this. Now, first of all, I don't disagree with the price hike. I think it's necessary. I think it was going to happen. It was inevitable. Games have been the same price for way too long. Games have been the same price for about 3 generations. They haven't changed. You know, inflation doesn't even cut it. We are getting a bargain on games these days. However, with that said, it is also ridiculous that we have been paying full price for games, and that certain games had the audacity to put microtransactions in their games. Now, an argument can be made, maybe, that companies put microtransactions in their games to cover the cost, maybe, of making the game. Because making a game costs a lot of money. I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that perhaps, maybe, that pricing the games the way they have been has been a bit daft, really. We have been getting away with murder in regards to the prices of games. But I'm worried that even though games are going up in price, I'm worried that companies will, despite the prices going up, will still shove microtransactions and loot boxes and all sorts of gambling mechanics into their games. The biggest outlier in this is 2K games, particularly NBA 2K21. This is the forefront of these price hikes. NBA 2K21 is going to cost $70 on PS5 and Xbox Series X. And knowing the recent history of 2K, I wonder if they will have the audacity, the gall, the balls, the cojones, the stones to not only charge this game $70, but will shove the same gambling mechanics that they have put in their games the last 2 or 3 years. I will be interested to see if they will actually do that, because there is no way this is going to get good feedback if they shove microtransactions into this. $70 is an awful lot of money for a video game when you think about it, especially a sports game, a yearly sports franchise coming in at $70. If this game ends up having microtransactions, I might have to just boycott sports games going forward, because that is a sadistic price to put on a game. And I bet you any money 2K are looking at their numbers and they're probably thinking, well, if we're making all this money on this, imagine how much money we're going to make on this. Honestly, I'm scared in case they do go up with... No, I'm scared in case they put the microtransactions in these games, despite the fact that they're 10 quid more. In most cases, new games that come out over here have already been about €70. So by my reckoning is that these games are going to end up costing €80, which is mental. That's €20 away from 100 quid. Do you know what I mean? That is an insane amount of money. Oh, I don't know. I just think we'll wait and see. But we are all so aware of microtransactions these days. This generation has been plagued with them, especially in the latter half of the generation. We are now aware of it. This cannot bleed into next generation. We cannot have these games be continuously monetized after the game's release, especially at $70 or €80 or £50. That is absolutely ridiculous if they end up putting microtransactions and loot boxes and all sorts of monetization in their games post-launch. I can't imagine that we're going to stand for it this time. That's all I'm worried about. Like, video games are already expensive enough, and I will not go to GameStop to buy my games brand new anymore. I learned that lesson. Not so much, it's not even regards to a price that I'm not going back to GameStop. I don't go back to GameStop because they kind of not so much screwed me over either. I mean, I got the things I wanted, but the lengths I had to go to get them was ridiculous. In Christmas last year, my wife to be got me a Xbox One X, and it was supposed to be a surprise, but she was concerned by the packaging. She was supposed to have gotten an Xbox One X bundled with Forza Horizon 4, by my reckoning, and when she got it, it had no game with it. It didn't even have the sleeve with the promotional cover on it. The box was already opened, and it was also on sale. It was a bargain. That was what it was, like a promotional bargain yoke. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was on sale. It was a sale they were doing, and my wife to be fiance took advantage of that. it was €60 cheaper than it should have been, or €100 cheaper or thereabouts. So she was able to grab that, but then find out that she didn't get what she paid for. The receipt said that she got it, but the box suggested otherwise. So she actually had to call me in and say, Dave, this was supposed to be a surprise, but I just need you to confirm whether or not this is what I should have gotten. I ordered this, and she showed me the receipt. And I just looked at it and noticed that it had been, the seal was broken. I said, no, that is not what you ordered. We're going to have to take it back. And I contacted them first and asked them, is it possible to get this replaced because you've gave me a broken seal? And he said on the phone that it's not possible, or not, that it will be possible under certain circumstances. If they're able to get the same bundle, then great. However, if not, then I would have to pay to get the bundle again, or I would have to pay the extra because the sale was no longer valid. The sale was no longer in place. So they told me that should I be able to get it replaced after the sale or after the bargain promotion had been expired, that I would have to pay the extra €160. And I thought that was absolute nonsense. So I rang my local GameStop instead and said to them what the situation was. They told me to bring the console in and we'll take it from there. They didn't tell me, didn't make any promises, so I took it back in, and thankfully she was friendly. She says, look, I'll see if I can get on the phone. Unfortunately, this very bundle that you bought is no longer available anywhere. We can't get this bundle anywhere. The only thing I can do is a straight swap, but I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. So what I did was I left them to it, and then I got a phone call about 5 or 10 minutes later to come back to the shop and says they'll do a straight swap. So instead of getting the Forza Horizon bundle, I got the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order bundle. And that came at no cost. I gave them permission to open the box to make sure that the game was in it. I was happy, took it home, didn't get to open it for another 3 weeks, but whatever. And that was a nightmare. Even though it was a happy ending, I shouldn't have had to do that. Not only that, the seal was broken. And that was not the moment I said I'll never buy from GameStop again. The moment I said that I would never buy from GameStop again was when I bought the Dark Souls trilogy brand new. I bought it brand new, and when it arrived at my door, not only was it unsealed, but the side of the box was cracked, damaged. There was a hole in it. And I said I didn't even bother contacting them to get a replacement, because that would have just been a whole thing. Because I would have ended up getting another new copy that was unsealed and potentially liable to get broken again. So my moment of not buying from GameStop again came at that point. I haven't bought from GameStop since. That was January. And the reason why I don't buy from GameStop anymore is because you're paying way too much money to buy a brand new game, only for them to give you a game that is not sealed. It is not sealed, therefore it is not new. It has been opened, you have taken the disc out and you've put it in a sleeve to store away until someone buys it. I bought a game brand new in the store sometime last year, and he took the case that I took off the shelf, and that was the case he used. He took the display case of the game. He did not go in the back and get a sealed box. He took the box I gave him, took the disc out of a plastic case and the manual, put it into the case, closed it with his bare fingerprints, with it unsealed, handed it to me, and charged me brand new. I only bought it because it was on sale. So either way, I was getting a bargain. But I disagree with the notion of selling something as new but giving it to you unsealed. So that's why I will not go to GameStop again, because that is way too much money. They charge the most money for games in this country. Everywhere else is either the same-ish or slightly cheaper. But GameStop charges upwards of €70 for new games. whereas there's a toy store over here, very similar to Toys R Us, called Smith's, and they sell games €10 cheaper, sometimes €15 cheaper. You're getting such a bargain out there, and that's where I'll be continuing to buy new games going forward. I will not buy a brand new game from GameStop. I will never. I'll go digital first if I have to. That was a topic I was not expected to bring up on this episode. I was actually going to talk about it on a different episode, but whatever. I've said it now. So yeah, I think I've just covered about everything for the day. Everything for the week has been covered that I know of or that matters to me. So, with that said, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble on, unscripted, no less. Yep, and that'll do. If you enjoyed it, I suggest you do what I already suggested at the beginning of the video. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more, go to youtube.com/gamerboy. That's GAMERBHOY. The link is in my profile on SoundCloud if you're listening to it here. If you're on YouTube, then you're already on my channel. Click the subscribe button if you want. You don't have to. I'm not pressuring you. I do these videos, I do this podcast out of my own enjoyment. I don't do it to please anyone. If you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. Don't let me keep you here. You know? And I don't mean that in a nasty way. Like, I'm not going to be the kind of person that says, ring the bell, ding, subscribe, please subscribe. Oh, my numbers of subscribers is 40% more than the number of viewers. What? Let's increase that number. No, I'm not going to do that. That is a lot of rubbish. Okay? I'm not getting paid to do it. Therefore, I have no commitment. You know, I have no contract. Ergo, no commitments to make on any of this content. I do it for myself. And anyone who watches it or listens to it is a bonus for me. And I'm very grateful for those who do. So if you have, thank you. If you haven't, then thanks for listening to me for the first few minutes and then leaving. I don't know. But that's all I'm going to say about it now. So thanks again for watching. This has been Dave talking to you on GB Gaming, where video games come first. Thanks again. Check my channel out if you want to. If you don't, it's not a big deal. And if you do want to, click the subscribe button, whatever. Thanks again, and I'll see you whenever I see you. Cheerio, bye-bye, stay safe. See ya.